Hello YouTube audience. Once again we are talking about the COPPA. Anyway, the Child Online Privacy Protection Act and how it's going to affect all of us guys on YouTube, like myself, Monster Hobbies, who make all these hobby videos and have, like, you know, toy related type items in the videos and all this stuff, what it means. Okay, so I actually went over to the FTA and the COPPA stuff, and I printed out this nice little 36 page long, this is sort of a frequently asked questions. Okay, I didn't print out the whole big, you know, everything to do with COPPA, but this is basically the brief skinny, as it were. So I printed out this one because it applies to me more. A guide for business and parents and small entity compliance guide. Oops. There we go. So I printed this thing off. Now before I get into some of this, I also printed off on YouTube. They're determining if your content is made for kids, that section. And then set your channel or video's audience, that one. And I also printed off something interesting about PayPal, which we'll get into. Because, whoops, I think I bumped that. Because all this stuff is going to be the future of how we will be getting monetized from here on out and everything else, all your concerns. Okay, so I also wrote a couple little things on these little pink stickies. So I just put this right here. Okay, so here's the whole problem with all this. All right, and I'm going to try to be gender neutral here, because that's kind of important these days. And it's hard for us old Gen Xers to get around, like, the gender thing, because it's so new and we're so old school, you know? Okay, so here we go. So, gender neutral here. Pat, because that could be Pat or Patricia or whatever you want. Okay, I've named this person Pat Yunderage. Underage, you know? Okay, so this is a nondescript under 13-year-old kid. This is what the problem with all this is. Okay, so Pat Yunderage gets like a phone or goes over to the parent's laptop or something like this, okay? Because in the computer world, parents and guardians, right, they have to be over 13, of course, because they're buying the technology. So they have the money to buy the technology, right? So technically the web is set up for adults because everybody's 18 plus, or, you know, whatever, right? 17, 16, 17. They fall out of the 13 and under to be able to buy a device. However, once the parent or guardian, or, you know, even older teenager, whatever, right, above 13-year-old, gets a device, they could give the device to Pat Yunderage, right? Now this is what the problem is. So Pat Yunderage, because all kids now know how to use a computer, right? It's their world. So Pat Yunderage gets on the computer, and you're not allowed to have a YouTube account if you're a Pat Yunderage, right? If you do have, or not a YouTube account, just any account, anything, anywhere, right? You're not allowed to have one if you're Pat Yunderage. However, Pat Yunderage goes to their parents and says, oh, you know, parent, right? Can you help me to, you know, make an account? So the parent goes, all right, I am the parent or the guardian. I have the authority to decide what my little Pat Yunderage is allowed to view or not view, right? So the parent goes, whatever, right? Because they're busy doing something else. So they go, okay, bang. The parent creates the account. Now Pat Yunderage is using the parent's account as Pat Yunderage, right? Now, the problem with this is that nobody knows Pat Yunderage is Pat Yunderage until Pat Yunderage divulges that they're Pat Yunderage, or certain websites are able to allow Pat Yunderage to operate as Pat Yunderage, right? Okay, now here's what happens. So this is where Pat Yunderage gets involved in 3 COPPA violations automatically. Number 1, they create an online account. No accounts are designed for Pat Yunderage, kids under 13. So they're in violation number 1. Violation number 2 is they post a comment somewhere. Okay, so now that they have all their information as this account that they created, they go on to your YouTube channel and they go, say they're watching one of my videos on slot car racing. So Pat the Underage will come on there and they'll go, I really like slot cars. I have some and my dad and I play it too, right? Or whatever, right? Now that comment, what happens with that? Okay, that comment sits there. And depending on the provider of this website, whatever, and because this is on YouTube, I'm going to talk about YouTube here. So Pat the Underage writes this thing on YouTube. Now, YouTube has bots on it. Now, the bots are looking at like your cookies, your IP address, all that jazz, and they determine, aha, here is a person. Now, they're not designed for Pat the Underage. Keep this all in mind. They're designed for, Pat Yoverage, right? Okay, the reverse. Or Sam Yoverage, the older person, right? So that's what they're designed for, to look for. So they're assuming all this stuff is for Sam Yoverage, right? So they're going, okay, now Sam Yoverage will want to see, because Sam Yoverage is watching these videos, he will want to see more of this content. They don't realize they're talking to Pat the Underage. They're talking Sam Yoverage, right? Okay, so Sam Yoverage wants to see all this stuff. This is what YouTube is saying. So it's going, okay, so Sam Yoverage, here's more of this jazz for you to look at, right? They don't know they're actually jamming this to Pat the Underage, right? They think they're going to Sam Yoverage. So this is violation number 2. They're not allowed to hit Pat the Underage with this stuff, but they think they're hitting Sam Yoverage. They're not. They're hitting Pat the Underage. Okay, now that's where the whole problem is, because Pat the Underage isn't supposed to be getting this stuff, but Pat the Underage is. Okay, so that's violation number 2. And because these comments and stuff are sitting on the website, they're being stored on YouTube, made public, and anybody can see Pat the Underage's comment. That is the other big sticky violation, right? And this is where YouTube got sued for that $170 million. And probably some other stuff we don't know about, okay? But primarily that. Okay, and then number 3 is the website collects the said data, right, comments or whatever, and shares it in a way to reuse it. So that again is the Pat the Underage leaves a comment, Pat the Underage has this account, Pat the Underage looks at all these videos and stuff, and then the provider like YouTube goes, here's more, here's more, here's more. That's the third offense. It's pretty much the same as the second offense, but it's reusing this data. And the other part of it is, say this is on a different website and goes to a third party type thing. So again, oh yes, that's right, the advertisers. This is this part of it. So Pat the Underage left his comment and keeps looking at these videos. So the advertisers go, aha, Pat the Underage, or sorry, Sam Yoverage, because that's who they're thinking this is into colored markers, right? Like this highlighter. So let's start putting all these highlighter ads on Sam Yoverage's site. Except Sam Yoverage is really Pat the Underage, because Pat the Underage convinced the parents, right, to allow Pat the Underage to make an account, with the parents giving the consent to whoever the original owner of that, consenting website thingy was. So this is the whole problem. This is where YouTube got into that loop and got nailed by FTA and COPPA. So now that we know this part of the whole thing, right, we can proceed into, let's see, let's start with, okay, we'll do it this way. We're going to start with this. So determining if your content is made for kids. Now this is from YouTube, right? I'll just give this a brief here. According to the FTC's guidance on COPPA, a video is child directed, all right, because this is the gray area, so that hasn't been explained yet to YouTube. So according to the FTC guidance on COPPA, a video is child directed, right? This is where the sticky bit is, which we call made for kids on YouTube, if children are the primary audience based on the factors described below, which I'll get into in a minute. And 2, children are not the primary audience, but the video is still directed to children based on the factors below. So what are our factors? I don't know, maybe I can put this here, just a sec here. Because I'm using Windows Movie Maker, and the caption equipment I got is garbage. Like, it'll just write letters in red, black, blue. So if I've got like a sentence here and it gets on my face, you miss half of the sentence. So I'll try to project white onto my shirt here as best I can. This is what I have to do. This is my technology, people. Please help me out with some Patreon. Anyway, no, never mind that for now. Okay. Oh, and I'm also not going to try to lift my hand here because it'll just cut to the words. So here we go. All right. When deciding whether or not your channel or video is made for kids, you should consider various factors, including 1. Subject matter of the video. So is your video educational content for preschoolers, for example? Now, it could also be educational stuff for kids that, or could be considered, would it hit kids that are 12 years old? So or 8 to 12. So my hobby shop runs for ages 8 to 80. So anything that I do that's related to Monster Hobbies would automatically hit 8 to 80. So I have to mark my videos as made for kids. Okay. So right there, because even if I educate somebody on how to use a hobby knife, and that somebody gets attracted to my channel because they're looking at, I don't know, let's say they're somewhere else. They're looking at Star Wars stuff, right? And then all of a sudden I've got a link for like a Star Wars video I did, and it pops over on this side of the screen or whatever, whichever side it is, right? Could be this side, I don't know. I got to remember this is reversed to what I'm seeing in my viewfinder. Okay, so anyway, they go and click on Star Wars. So now all of a sudden up pops my video in the recommended videos on the side, right? So the kid goes and clicks on that. Now all of a sudden, for Pat Yunderage, I'm now showing Pat Yunderage something. Now I may not have intended, you know, a video on hobby knife usage, because that's a knife, it's sharp, it should be for, you know, 14 and up, right? Pat Yunderage all of a sudden is watching this thing. I have no control over what Pat Yunderage is doing. I don't even know Pat Yunderage is there. But Pat Yunderage, on his Gibbled account, his illegal account, I should say, has now watched my hobby knife video. So if FTC wanted to come after me, they could say, look, Pat Yunderage just watched your video. And in fact, not only one Pat Yunderage, but like 4.5 million Pat Yunderages watched your video. So we are determining that your video is made for kids, and you click the button that said it was not made for kids because you figured that a hobby knife is dangerous, not made for kids. But because there's toys involved, because models are toys now, everything is toy now, anything is toy or kid friendly now, you're going to get hit with the FTA. So I have to mark my videos as not made for, or made for kids, pardon me, made for kids. Okay, so that is example number 1. 2, whether children are your intended or actual audience for the video. So they're determining anything toy, craft, hobby, coloring pencils, drawing pictures, singing songs, the list goes on, right? Anything you can conceive of a kid being interested in, even like cooking, baking cookies, right? It had nothing to do with Monster Hobbies. But if somebody wants to bake cookies and they got their little Pat Yunderage, or Pat Yunderage is interested in making cookies for a school project coming up, right? You know, Christmas concert or something, whatever goes on in your country too, any of your holidays, right? And they want to look up how to make a cookie or something for that, and they click your video and you're not for kids and there's a cookie on there, you're in FTA violation of COPPA because Pat Yunderage gotcha. Okay. Okay, so whether the video includes child actors or models. So now this gets into consent and everything too, which is part of the COPPA thing, which we'll take a look at later. If you have a kid in a video, you must be the kid's parent, because by putting your kid in the video and you're the parent, you've already given the parental consent. Now, don't quote me, I'm not a lawyer on this, okay? Never quote me, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just explaining this from what I've read and what's on these papers and everything, okay? YouTube is right, seek legal advice. Okay, but anyway, apart from that. So now, like my kids could be in my slot car YouTube videos. If another kid comes in and races and I film that other kid, Or if you're in a public thing, okay, like say you go to a model train convention, right, or something like that, where there's lots of people mulling about in the crowd, and you hit that record button and you have a kid walk by the camera, okay, you have to chase down that parent and say, hi, your kid just walked in front of my camera. Here's a form to fill out. I want to put the video on YouTube. Do I have your consent? And if the parent goes, no, you can't post that video. So my recommendation here, I'm going to give you a recommendation. And in fact, this is a good time to do it. I wrote down these pink things again. So my recommendation here is if you have any videos where you are at a convention or like Cub Car Rally or anything like that, just delete them before this COPPA FTA thing kicks in, okay? Any group settings where kids are included, just don't do them anymore. Okay, so that's a recommendation there from me. Now, again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the legal ramifications and all that, because you can also blur out the faces according to the thing, and if you blur them out, then you don't need consent. But if you're like me, who are using Windows Movie Maker 7 from Windows 7, you know you don't have that option, okay? I wish I had my Power Director, because you could do that kind of stuff, but it blew up. Sorry for the noise. There's an auto body shop downstairs, so I'm going to have to talk a little louder when they hit the air compressor, which they just did. Okay, anyway, moving on. Whether the video includes characters, celebrities, or toys that appeal to children, including animated characters or cartoon figures. So again, us guys in the hobby, you know, there's going to be like a Ghostbusters. Actually, I have a What's in the Box Ghostbusters one. I've got What's in the Box Elvira, What's in the Box, whatever. And then I've got Warhammer stuff and all that. All that stuff appeals to kids. Even if it's like someone else in one of the videos said, say you're doing a YouTube channel and you've got like vintage Mickey Mouse stuff that's only going to appeal to people that are, you know, 70 plus years old. Like my parents were born back in the day, like way back in the day. Like between the 1920s and 1940s, let's say. Okay, so they're going to be, if they're interested in toys still, they're interested in, oh, I grew up with, you know, this tin Mickey Mouse that went, you know, or Donald Duck, you know, when you pulled the string, you go, you know, as you pulled the string along, right? That is, again, an FTA thing you have to deal with. You have to mark that video as made for kids, because even if your target audience is 70-year-old people or 90-year-old people or whatever, because it's a toy, it's made for kids. And this is where it gets weird, because if you're making naughty videos like Elsa meets Spider-Man, all right, even though that video is really rude, and I do not recommend people looking it up, really like severely disturbed, and definitely if you watch it and you're like, as a parent, right, you watch this thing, which I'm not recommending, as you watch this thing as a parent and you're like, kids, something for kids is doing that, you know, okay, right? Apparently that's okay, because if they mark that as made for kids, because it is Elsa and Spider-Man cartoons and all the rest, they can get away with that. And I'll get into that in a little bit here. Anyway, okay, whether the language of the video is intended for children to understand. So if you're making a video in sophisticated language, like this other guy said, you're making it like, and so thine toyeth s, you know, and you're using like big words like interpersonality and all this kind of stuff that kids wouldn't understand. Even if you got a toy there, it's still made for kids. It doesn't matter. Whether the video includes activities that appeal to children, such as play acting, simple songs or games, or early education. So again, if I'm showing a Pat Underage how to spray, actually if I'm going for Sam Yoverage, and I'm like, okay, Sam Yoverage, this is how you use a spray can to spray your models. It's all chemicals. I require you wear a mask because it's dangerous stuff. Da, 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 da. And one of these Pat Underages with their illegal account goes on there and says, oh, look, there's Spider-Man, or there's you know, like the Ghostbusters thing, right? And the guy's building a model of a Ghostbusters, and I'm Pat Underage, and I'm interested in Ghostbusters. I like building model kits, so I'm going to take a look at it. Bang, again, I just hit COPPA. So I have to say made for kids. Whether the video includes song stories or poems for children. So even if you got like background music where you're like, and it's like a happy tune and maybe kids would like that. Yep. Made for kids. Any other information you may have to help determine your video's audience, like empirical evidence of the video's audience. Oh, I guess that, I'm not quite sure what that meant, but I think that means if you're using analytics to track if kids are going there, then again, you're made for kids. Okay, so now YouTube has this little discretionary note. Now, what's happened is YouTube got sued for this. So they are, of course, when a big company gets sued, what do? They make rules that pull them out of suability, let's say. So they want to put this now on our shoulders. So it's up to us as YouTube content creators to be able to dig up this information and read it for yourself and determine your own stuff. And that's why I printed this off for myself, because I kind of covered different things. This is not just, we're on YouTube and this is this and there you go. YouTube is a video sharing platform, as we know, right? That's its key business model, video sharing platform. So now if we have our platform like monsterhobbies.ca, right? And I want to go, okay, I need to advertise my store and I've got this video that I've made and it's on YouTube and I want that on my store. Okay, so this is where I divulge into my own thing off of YouTube. So I've got my own store, business web address, right? www.monster-hobbies.ca. Okay, so right when you go on that web page, you get that that little video I made with my kids years ago, and it's like on the road with Monster Hobbies. Today we're going to go visit Monster Hobbies down here in High River, Alberta. And then you see like my kids running up the stairs and I'm like, ee, and all this kind of stuff, right? All right. So that obviously has to be made for kids, right? Okay. Shoot, where was I going? I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, so, oh yes, the responsibility part. So YouTube is trying to get this off of their shoulders. So now if someone goes onto my website there, and they see that video or whatever, it's now on my shoulders to deal with whatever's going on my own website. So a Pat Underage, whatever. Now, my website doesn't collect all the data and jazz from kids. It's just basically, here's my online store. If you want to buy something, then, you need a credit card and all that jazz, right? So automatically, I don't know, automatically maybe not that's the right word, but with online purchases, okay, you have to be an adult. You have to have a credit card on my website, which means you cannot be under 18 to get a credit card because that's a legal contract, binding legal contract, and you must be old enough to understand a binding legal contract. Okay, keep that in mind because there's more of this coming up. I don't have any way to collect data from people the only way is at the shopping cart level. So like once you buy something on www.monster-hobbies.ca, okay, once you buy something, it goes into, I guess you would call it a collection thing, right? But what it's storing is the address that I'm going to send your thing back to, your credit card number, and something like that, right? Like if you leave a comment or something, right? Ask a question like how do you ship this, or can I get UPS or something like that, right? So it stores it there. Now that's all. Your privacy is protected under a certain thing. Sorry, I forget what it is when I'm making this video, but it's like a special thing that's like a privacy protection deal. Now once I process your whatever item, I click a button and it permanently deletes that from my stuff. So I have no clue that you did that. There's no way to trace your credit card number for any if somebody hacks my website and whatever, they cannot get it because it's encrypted. It's double encrypted. Is that the right word? I don't know. But anyway, it will delete it entirely. So there's absolutely no record, zero whatsoever of our transaction, your credit card number, your comments you gave me, anything. It's gone forever. Amen. Okay? So that's what happens. And the other thing is, if you order from Monster Hobbies, I'm not going boop, boop, and your package is sent out. Your information comes up and it stops dead flat. Stops dead flat, and then I have to physically go in there and sort out all the details. Then I will contact you back via email. This is all okay under COPPA, right? Via email, and I will say, hello, sir, thank you very much for ordering blah, blah, blah from Monster Hobbies, da, 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 da. You know, and your shipping address and some other stuff, right? Now, I might need to include some new stuff after I've read that whole COPPA agreement thing. Okay, but that's fine. Going forward, I can do that. And then after that, after everything's all okay between you and me and all that, then I process your card, and then I hit that thing, and pfft, your info's gone forever. Amen. That's how it works with Monster Hobbies ordering stuff, just so you know. Okay, but anyway, getting back to this. So here we go. YouTube Analytics is not designed to help determine if your content is child-directed. So the YouTube Analytic robot will not go in there and go, child, no, not for child, whatever, right? We have to do this as creators. You should use the factors outlined by the FTC above to set your audience. So you need to go and print off that big complying with the COPPA frequently asked questions thing that I printed out. You need to do that for yourself. Look for the links. I'll try to include it here. How old is a kid? The age of a kid in the United States is defined as anyone under the age of 13. However, the age of a kid may be higher in other countries. Okay, so I'm in Canada. I got to check this thing out too, right? So consider the factors described above as appropriate given how kids is defined in applicable laws in your country, and consult legal counsel if you have additional questions. So YouTube added in that consult legal counsel because they don't want to be liable and say, oh yes, because you're in Canada, let's say for example, kids are 16 and below, so if you do this, blah, 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 right? And then all of a sudden, Canadian COPPA, right, or whatever you want to say, comes into effect, and they go, or no, is it the CRTC? I think is our thing. So the CRTC comes in and they go, aha, you're in violation because you're making 13 and under content or something to that effect, right? Whatever their thing will be. I cannot go to YouTube and say, you directed me to do this, YouTube, so I'm going to sue you. They just pulled that off of their shoulders in this document. That's what this is all about. So all onus is now on us, the creators. This is very important to understand, okay? And then at the bottom, note, as a creator, you know your videos and your audience best, and it is your legal responsibility to comply with COPPA and or other applicable laws and designate your content accurately. If you fail to categorize your content correctly, there may be consequences on YouTube. Additionally, there may be legal consequences under the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, or other applicable local laws like CRTC or whatever else. I don't know what's in other countries. I'm worried about mine. My back end, not yours. But anyway, I am also concerned with you guys. Okay, so then next we get set your channels. What am I reading here? Set your channel or video's audience. I have to read backwards, right? Okay. So here it goes into, as a YouTube creator, you're required to set future and existing videos as made for kids or not. Even creators who don't make contents for kids need to set their audience. This will help ensure that we offer the appropriate features on your content. The appropriate features on your content, okay? Or remove those features that are causing Pat Yunderage to misuse your video content. That's the key here. So we want to, as YouTube creators, we want to talk to Sam Yoverage That's who we are wanting to talk to, is Sam Overage, the parent, the guardian of Pat Underage. We don't want to be addressing in any way, shape, or form Pat Underage. And this is where it went for us on YouTube, because Pat Underage snuck through the back door through Sam Overage's, here, kid, have this, right? kind of thing. So Pat Underage created bogus accounts that are now infiltrating Sam Overage, which is all of us. The YouTube creators are Sam Overage. We got attacked through a back door by Pat Underage. So we have to make sure we are talking to Sam Overage and not Pat Underage. And that's the whole point of all this jazz. This is where we're going to get nailed if we allow Pat Underage to get in on our videos and leave a comment and all this jazz. We have to stop Pat Underage and only have Sam Overage. So if we have stuff that appeals to Pat Underage, YouTube is making it so Pat Underage cannot comment and all that stuff. And I'll read this here in a sec here. Okay, so then it goes into how to set it up, and I'm not going to get into that because you can do that on your YouTube channel. And they show you how to do it anyway. Just Google if you have questions. Okay, and then it says, all right, so I printed this out for myself for my collection. So here's what I did. I highlighted what I want to talk about here. So what happens when your content is set as made for kids? Now this is where the YouTube creators who are being monetized, who were monetized for kid content, this is for you guys now, because it also affected me in a way. Okay, starting in January, we will limit the data we collect on made-for-kids content to comply with the law. This means that we will start disabling certain features like comments, notifications, and others. Note, you may see some small changes as we experiment and refine our systems over the next few months. So initially, they're going to remove our comments and all the rest because Pat the Underage, remember? Bogus account, they post a comment somewhere, then the YouTube Analytics starts collecting all the data. Oh, look, because YouTube Analytics is thinking Sam Overage, not Sam Overage's corrupted account that Pat Underage snuck in and did his thing on, right? So YouTube is going, okay, Sam Overage wants to see more LOL unboxing videos, right? And Analytics is not going, wait a minute, why is Sam Overage watching like My Little Pony videos and LOL doll unboxings and guys jumping around in jello, whatever. And Analytics is not doing that. Analytics is just going, okay, I'm on an analytic computer right now. Sam Overage wants to watch more LOL doll videos, so Sam Overage will now get 400 notifications on LOL videos. You know, that's what it's doing. It's not going, is this a Pat Underage? You know, no, it doesn't. It just goes, Sam Overage loves this stuff, so more and more and more. Feed the machine, right? So this is what YouTube is saying. They're initially they're gonna put this thing on. So all our comments and everything else are gone because of Pat Underage, right? And his personal information. So as soon as Pat Underage comes on your comment and goes, I really like making model points, right? For me, COPPA violation, right? So when you set made for kids, you're eliminating Sam Underage's ability to get you in trouble. This is what it boils down to. Okay? It's nothing to do with you and monetization, and they're after people based on their gender or not gender, whatever's going on. I've seen all kinds of weird videos, like women that make crafts and post their stuff. YouTube is being discriminatory against women because women are doing crafts and now women won't get paid. No, it's nothing like that at all. It is, they are trying to stop Pat Underage from illegally creating an account and going on your thing and having Pat Underage's personal information divulged all across YouTube for everyone to see and react to. They're trying to protect unscrupulous adults from grabbing Pat Underage's little I love building planes or whatever comment from going, aha, there's a Pat Underage. Aha, now I'm going to do something like bombard Pat Underage with this stuff, and aha, now I'm going to collect all Pat Underage's personal information and use it for my evil plan. That's what YouTube is trying to go, nope, not going to happen anymore under our thing, because we don't want to get another $170 million lawsuit is what they're saying. So they're protecting us, they're protecting them, but it sounds like they're doing this the wrong way, but really, after I've read this, they're really not. Okay, so anyway. But the small changes. So once they figure out a way to make leaving a comment on like a Monster Hobbies video, for example, when they figure a way to do it that doesn't make Pat Underage's information public, right? Like if they can find a way that Pat Underage can still leave a comment, but it doesn't like go in reverse and start pulling all his personal information out of his account and spreading it all across the web. Once they figure that out, we will be allowed to make comments again. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know this stuff. This is just a prediction I'm making, so I could be wrong. We could never have our comments back, but I've got some ideas about that one. Anyway, so okay, most importantly, we won't serve personalized ads on kid content. So what I discovered a personalized ad is here. Okay, let's say my video is about this Hot Wheel car, right? Now this Hot Wheel car is actually designed as a GoPro camera assist. It's pretty cool. You pop your GoPro camera in here, right? And then you run the car down the track. And, well, you hit record, right? And you run the camera down the track. So then the camera sees your Hot Wheel track from the Hot Wheel perspective, right? Okay, let's say I make a video on that, right? Now, these personalized ads are ads that pop up from, let's say, Hot Wheels. So Hot Wheels will go, aha, here's a cool little video. So we'll just pop in this Hot Wheel ad. So the Hot Wheel ad comes up and it's like, do you like Hot Wheels and want more track? Visit us here at hotwheels.com, whatever it is, right? Mattel.com, I guess. Those get removed because those ads now are targeting kids based on Pat Underage getting his illegal account, having his stuff on there, and whatever. So now, all of us indirectly through all this stuff, Pat Underage has made it so that your video is now grabbing his information and putting related videos onto his thing as recommended, because again, all this is designed for Sam Overage, right? So that's the whole problem with all this jazz. All right, so by clicking Made for Kids, you are actually protecting Pat Underage from Sam Overage's inability to comprehend, because this is a huge comprehension thing. Like me as a parent, I'm like, oh yeah, you want to hook up with that kids? Yeah, no problem. I mean, looks all right. There you go. And that's what happened with us as parents. We went, yeah, looks good. Must be okay. Go ahead, fill out an account. Doesn't matter, right? Because none of us realized that this is what's going on behind the pages, right? Behind your front screen on like Animal Farm or whatever, right? Animal Farm, George Orwell, 1984. Anyway, let's say there's an Animal Farm game, right? You say, okay, yeah, sure, you can join whatever, just make up your own account, kid. They go on Animal Farm. Now that they have to write in, who are you, how old are you, what's your address, and all that stuff. That's their personal information to get an account with Animal Farm from George Orwell. Actually, maybe this is a George Orwell thing. Anyway, conspiracy theory time at Monster Hobbies. So, all joking aside, they've got that information there. So they do the same thing on YouTube. You name your address, da-da-da-da-da. They leave a comment. Someone can backtrack that and find out their name and address. So again, by clicking Made for Kids, you are protecting that little Pat Underage. So here's what happens. You guys can look this up. It's on YouTube, that part of it. If you set a video for Made for Kids, starting in January, when you set your audience as Made for Kids, we'll restrict certain features to comply with the Children's Online COPPA, right? And other applicable laws. When this happens, the following features won't be available on individual videos or live stream. Okay, so I'm not going to raise my hand. I'm going to write these out here. So 1, personal advertising. Again, the Hot Wheels thing, right? Comments, channel branding watermark, which I'm not sure on that one why they're getting rid of that. Kind of sucks because you won't see my little Monster Hobbies logo guy in the corner. Okay, a donate button, that will be gone. Cards or end screens. So again, you're like, well, why, right? Okay, keep in mind that cards and end screens, actually, you know what? I think I just figured out the watermark thing too. I'm not sure on the watermark because I haven't tried to do this, but if you click on any of those things and they redirect you to something else, right? Again, I'm not sure on the watermark if this applies, right? But anyway, if you do that, it redirects. So Pat Yunderage with this account, now all his account activity gets redirected to this other site. So again, they get rid of the end screens and all that, the things like that. It will not direct Pat Yunderage somewhere else. So Pat Yunderage's little account is like the Easter Bunny. It's bouncing from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, and it's leaving eggs at every house, right? That's what the problem with all this stuff is. Sam Overage doesn't matter because Sam Overage's stuff, he's already over 18, we hope, or over 16 or whatever the applicable law is. He's of that age, so 18 to 80 or 90 or whatever, right? So Sam Overage is fine if he does the Easter Bunny thing and leaves Sam Overage eggs at every house. It's only Pat Yunderage's little Easter Bunny egg analogy that is the big conflict. Okay, so notification bell. Again, you're allowing Sam Yunderage to click the bell and you're saying, here's Sam Yunderage, here's more stuff for you. So that's why the notification bell is going away. It's okay in the not made for kids because Sam Overage can get that. But again, if you have toys, anything toy at all, any crayons, cartoon, coloring things, whatever, it might appeal to Sam Yunderage. So Sam Yunderage will get that. So that's why they're cutting that. That's why if you've got any of that jazz, your safest bet is to click made for kids. And then YouTube will eventually figure out, okay, we can comment on your post if it in no way does the Easter Bunny hopping thing across the net. They have to start working on that because YouTube wants to build the community. So they've got our back. They just now have to sit down and go, okay, we got slapped in the face with $170 million. We don't want to get slapped again. We want to make sure that all our, because they've got, you know, the people that made the Hot Wheels, right, and made the Disney thing or whatever that's appealing to kids. They're also in this kind of mode where it's like, we need all these little guys to make these videos because the more, like if I make a what's in the box and I open up a 57 Chevy model kit from Revell, right? And you see that, Sam Yunderage, right, sees that, or Sam Overage, or Pat Yunderage, either of the two people see that, right? They may go, hey, that's really cool. I want to get a Revell 57 Chevy, right? So they go and they find out how to get a Revell 57 Chevy. Either they buy it up from me, monsterhobbies.ca, or they go and they, you know, go to, let's say, Walmart or something, and they find one there. I know Walmart doesn't do toys much or model kits much anymore. Or they go to Revell's website, or they go to eBay or Amazon or anywhere, right? They saw my video. So, oh, what about it? Anyway, that appeals. So it's in my best interest to click that video as made for kids and lose my comments, no, wait, that's what it was. Sorry. Okay, so Revell wants to maintain that because like P.T. Barnum said, any advertising is good advertising. So even though I'm a little teeny channel with like 20 viewers or 20 subscribers, right? Even if I have 20 subscribers and those people are the only people on the planet that saw that video, even once, it could result in a sale for Revell. Now, if Revell wants to keep that, oh, and you multiply my little channel by 10 million around the world, all of a sudden Revell is making a lot of sales because 20 guys see that. Out of the 20 guys, 2 guys buy the model kit, multiply 2 by 10 million, yeah, you're making money, right? So all these guys want to make it so that you can still comment and interact with that video, even though this COPPA thing kind of closed the door for now, right? They want to get that door back open, even if it only opens like that, right? Because they want to make sure that it's free advertising. All of us guys are doing free advertising. I don't have a sponsor from Revell, but I'm talking about what's in the box in a Revell thing. So in essence, I'm advertising Revell. Heck, I could just say enough of this Monster Hobby stuff and just start talking about, I don't know, tearing down an engine block on my Oldsmobile, right? And that would be my new channel. I don't know, Oldsmobile Repair Guy, I could call it, right? Oldsmobile Repair Guy that's over 18. I don't know. And I could book that as not for kids, and then I could get maybe sponsorship from GM. I don't know, something like that, right? But I choose to make videos for kids according to YouTube. So I'm going to have to take that little loss. But yeah. So anyway, so the other things you're going to be losing are your live chat or live chat donations, right? Because again, you may be talking to a Pat Yunderage. The notification bell. So we cannot notify Pat Yunderage that we just uploaded another video, which I don't know if no, because again, that's a personalized data, right? A playback in the Miniplayer. I don't have a Miniplayer. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, there's Miniplayers. I guess that might be on your phone. I don't know. Super chat or super stickers. Okay, super chat, because again, you're putting Pat Yunderage into a group of Sam Yoverages, and some Sam Yoverages are not nice Sam Yoverages. And save to playlist. So again, because of the way YouTube is with the analytics going, this must be a Sam Yoverage when it's really a Pat Yunderage, hooking up with all the other thingies, right? Again, if Pat Yunderage saves something to a playlist, again, that's his information going to that playlist. Okay, so all that stuff is gone. Starting in November, the channel membership's join button and the merch shelf won't be available on content set as made for kids. So again, a Sam Yunderage will not be bombarded with buy a Monster Hobbies t-shirt type of thing, right? Gone. Okay, but keep in mind, okay, that's bad, because I know a lot of you depend on that stuff as your revenue, right? And it's bad because that's gone. The advertising thing and whatever, being able to buy something directly on YouTube is gone. Okay, so what does that leave you? That leaves you with your original website. You can't promote it through YouTube, but remember, there's multiple means of advertising. I read a book that thick, and I'm not joking, on advertising. It was written in the 1950s, so it doesn't have the modern YouTube-y stuff, right? But the stuff in there still applies. So what was in there? What was in the 1950s if you want to advertise something? Newspaper, radio, television, bulletin boards, flyers, like paper flyers. Of course, now we have like mugs, stationery, right? So that's not online. So if I made a Monster Hobbies mug and it had, shop at Monster Hobbies written on it, and I give that to the kid at my store, that's not a COPPA thing, because it's child online privacy protection, right? And even if I gave a kid a mug that said buy something from Monster Hobbies, right? Specifically said buy at Monster Hobbies, right? Okay, which I think there's another law where you're not really supposed to do that. But anyway, let's say that happened, right? That's not COPPA. Nothing to do with COPPA. And a kid could go with their parents, because again, you need a credit card, and that's 18 plus. And with PayPal, that again is 18 plus. That's why I printed this thing off to figure that out. Then it's up to Sam Yoverage, right, to buy the thing for Pat Yunderage. So that pulls that element out of our hands. Okay, now we're already 49 minutes into this video. I'm sorry these are so long. This is legal mumbo jumbo, so it's going to take a while. I got to actually, pretty soon the camera will end. I'll have to record again and merge the two together for another hour-and-a-half video. Okay, so here we go with the federal trade stuff. Complying with COPPA. Frequently asked questions. Okay, so you're going to have to print this out because I'm not going to read this whole thing because we'll be here for days. But what I did was I highlighted the key bits. So we're getting back to this whole Pat Underage thing, pardon me. Maybe they're related. What is personal information? This is what we have to understand here. The amended rule defines personal information to include your first and last name. Okay, wait. Just going to pause this for a minute. All right, personal information. What is personal information? The amended rule defines personal information to include first and last name. Oh, wait, let's do it on a shirt here. First and last name, a home or other physical address, including street name and name of a city or town, online contact information, a screen or username that functions as online contact information, a telephone number, a social security number, a persistent identifier that can be used to recognize a user over time and across different websites or online services, a photograph, video, or audio file where such file contains a child's image or voice, geolocation information sufficient to identify street name and name of a city or town, or information concerning the child or parents of that child that the operator collects online from the child and combines with an identifier described above. Okay, so that's the definition of personal information. It's basically all your stuff. Okay. All right. Okay, so now some of this applies to Monster Hobbies because I wanted to cover both ends of it, right? Okay, so number 9 here. It says, I know that COPPA doesn't just apply to websites, but also to online services. What types of online services does COPPA apply to? COPPA applies to personal information collected online by operators of both websites and online services. The term online services broadly covers any service available over the internet or that connects to the internet or a wide area network. See, this is where YouTube missed the boat and got in trouble. Examples of online services include services that allow users to play network-connected games, engage in social networking activities. That's where the leaving the comment, clicking the subscribe button, and all that end screens and all that stuff, that right there is where that hit. And they didn't protect Sam Underage from doing that because YouTube walked in there with Sam Yoverage in mind. Not Pat Underage, Sam Yoverage. Okay, where were we? Social network. Purchasing goods or services online, depending on how that's set up, right? Receiving online advertisements, which again was like the Hot Wheel thing. Online advertisements, or interact with other online content or services. So third parties collecting your data. Mobile applications that connect to the internet-enabled gaming platforms, voice over internet protocol services. So again, like when you're playing Halo or something, right? I don't have this, but I've been told. And you got the headphones on and you're like, yeah, Jimmy, go shoot that guy over the ridge, right? And a kid goes, okay. That's COPPA infringement again, right? And internet-enabled location-based services also are online services covered by COPPA. Okay, so that's that part. All right, so that's what. Oh, okay. Now here, I didn't highlight this, but I'm going to talk about it. This is where that whole Elsa meets Spider-Man thing can still be a thing and be kid made for kids because it's a cartoon. This is the area of this thing. Get this. Will the COPPA rule keep my children from accessing pornography? See what that says? No. No. COPPA is meant to give parents control over the online collection, use, or disclosure of personal information from children, and was not designed to protect children from viewing particular types of content wherever they might go online. So your kids, even though this is where it's going to get wormy on YouTube, even though that stuff is made for kids because it's a cartoon, it could still classify as pornography or, you know, just inappropriate content. And your kids could still end up watching Spider-Man meets Elsa, and there is nothing COPPA can do to shut that website down. All right. Then it says to go to some stuff here. So I'll let you guys... Oh, here, I'll give you this one. www.staysafeonline.org. That's where it says to go if you got that complaint. Okay, because I don't want to read the rest of this stuff. You guys can print that out. 36 pages. Okay, so what are the penalties for violating the rule? A court can hold operators who violate the rule liable for civil penalties of up to $42,530 US per violation. So this is where YouTube is saying $42,530 per video, right? So keep that in mind. Each video that violates the made for kids, not made for kids, and remember that doesn't include the pornography portion. So if Elsa meets Spider-Man clicks made for kids, they are safe, believe it or not. So that's where we gotta, like, maybe that's where you need to push the FTA. You have to say, look, I'm making content that's kid friendly, but there is Elsa meets Spider-Man. Please examine that and make it like COPPA illegal, because that's where we need COPPA to stand up, is on that stuff, and anything else. I'm not just targeting that video, you know, anything that fits into that. Okay, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so it's, you know, right? But anyway, that's the thing. So if you mark a video not made for kids and it's full of Hot Wheels, they say you're in violation. Because here's the whole thing again. Pat, you underage, right? Sees this thing. It's a Hot Wheel video and it says not made for kids. Well, Pat, you underage goes, what does that mean, right? What does that mean? I mean, I don't understand, you guys. You guys. Let's talk like Eric Cartman here. You guys, I don't understand what that means, you guys, so I'm going to leave a comment. Ha, I like your video on the Hot Wheels. Right? Okay, so whammo. That goes, you know, the FDA or whatever steps in, they go, your video was deemed not made for kids. So Pat Underage walked in there and went, hey, here's my comment, you guys. Screw you guys, I'm going home. Anyway, so Pat Underage, hey, I could say that. Okay, so anyway, so Pat Underage goes on there, right? And he puts that on that video. Now all Pat Underage's stuff is, again, hooked up so you can share it and all that. So his personal information is now spewing all across the internet because he went on there. And you had not made for kids on your thing. You're liable because you misled Pat Underage because you were thinking of Sam Yoverage. This is where it's very, very important to follow this thing, because now FTA goes, you did that, right? How many times did you do that, sir? Oh, 487 times, right? So, you know, that's a lot of money. I was going to grab my calculator to show you, but never mind. It's a lot of money. And you don't have that money, and you can't hire a lawyer to back down because they went, well, look, they were clear. Here's the whole 36-page document, and there's probably another bigger one that I didn't print out, right? And sorry, dude, you misled Pat Underage, and it's clearly written right here in the policy. So we would like a check made out to, you know, within 30 days, right? Or whatever they're going to say there. The amount of civil penalties a court assesses may turn on a number of factors, including the egregiousness, big word, of the violations. whether the operator has previously violated the rule, the number of children involved, the amount and type of personal information collected, how the information was used, whether it was shared with third parties, and the size of the company. None of that will matter. You will get hit because it breaks that rule, right? Information about the FTC's COPPA enforcement actions, including the amounts of civil penalties obtained, can be found by clicking on the case highlights link in the FTC Business Center. I don't have a link for that, so you guys got to find that one out. Okay, number 4. There's number 3, but it involves the US, so it doesn't apply to me in Canada. I'll get to that in a minute. So you guys, again, will have to go to the FTC website and print this thing out. This is not my responsibility to get you to understand this stuff, but I am helping you is what I'm doing. So what rule should I do? Sorry, what should I do if my website or app doesn't comply with the rule? Okay. It's 11:32. Okay. Sorry. First, until you get your website or online service into compliance, you must stop collecting, disclosing, or using personal information from children under 13. So that's what YouTube is doing now. They're going, okay, we have to stop the collecting part. Okay, so, but we are giving you notice, everybody on YouTube, until, January 1st. So once, or December 31st, really. So once January 1st hits, and remember, time zones are different all across the world, so I'd get your stuff out of there. I'd get this resolved by at least December 28th. 6th. Make it Boxing Day. Boxing Day will be your thing to get all your video stuff together and dealt with. Make a date. Mark it on your calendar. Boxing Day, December 26th, 2019. Do it. Trust me. Do it. Get it ready. Because if the time zones are all goofy, right, and it's like midnight in Bangkok and 12 a.m. in your thing, it's all going to hit it simultaneously, right? Because YouTube just goes, this is a time, execute, right? And it doesn't matter if, I woke up and I was going to do that at 3 a.m. and, and then it hit at 2 a.m. You're gooned, right? So mark that date, Boxing Day. That's my second recommendation to you guys. So, second, carefully review your information practices and your online privacy policy. So this is if you have websites, right? Other websites like my Monster Hobbies one, right? In conducting your review, look closely at what information you collect, how you collect it, how you use it, whether the information is necessary for the activities on your site. So this also applies to, like, if you have a website where you're allowing kids to draw pictures and post it on your website, that's also in there, right? Whether the information provided by the pet underage is necessary for your activities on your site or services. Okay, whether you have adequate mechanisms for providing parents with notice and obtaining verifiable consent, not verbal, verifiable. Whether you have adequate methods for parents to review and delete their children's information. So if the parent comes on and they're like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Do you have a policy on your website where you can go, okay, if you're a parent that just walked in there, saw your little Pat underage looking at this thing, can you click a box saying, get my Pat underage the heck off your website? If you don't, you're in trouble. And whether you employ adequate data security, retention, and deletion practices. So on mine, I'm okay. Because first off, you need to be over 18 to buy something on Monster Hobbies, www.monster-hobbies.ca. And I collect the information, and as soon as the sale is complete, it goes zip, gone forever. So I'm compliant to this thing. So I'm okay on Monster Hobbies, www.monster-hobbies.ca. I'm good there. Education materials aimed at operators of websites and online services are available in the Children's Privacy section of the FTC Business Center. More places to look. Okay, so on my Facebook page, I had somebody vehemently tell me that don't worry about this, you're in Canada, they can't do anything. Wrong. Here it is. Right in the policy. Number 7, and thank goodness I looked this up. And I highlighted it right here. The internet is a global medium. Do websites and online services developed and run abroad, like in Canada, have to comply with the rule? Ready? Hold on to your seat. Foreign-based websites and online services must comply with COPPA if they are directed to children in the United States. Now, this is the main concern. I own Monster Hobbies. It's a global, worldwide entity, right? I know people are like, no, it's not, man. You're just a little hobby store. No, I have Monster Hobbies online. That means anybody from anywhere in the planet, all the way down on the very South Pacific, like miles below Japan. If somebody there has a computer and I don't know how they would ever figure this out, but let's say that person typed in monsterhobbies.ca and it went all the way into Canada, then that becomes, and that person was Pat underage, right? That becomes targeted to kids. Now, I'm not going to get in trouble from that little teeny island way up there and whatever and get into a COPPA thing. The problem is when a Pat underage from the US, because this is a global footprint, anyone can access it because I have keywords, and that's what's getting people to find my stuff is my keywords. That little Pat underage is in the States now. Goes on my thingy, on my website, right? Oh my. It goes on my website. Okay. Whew. And anyway, he goes on my website. That automatically becomes child directed, even though I'm in Canada. So that whoever told me that didn't matter, it very much dang well does matter. Okay, or if they knowingly collect personal information from children in the US. Okay, so I am not, that's kind of worded wrong. If I say it like this, I am not knowingly collecting personal information. No, I guess I would be knowingly collecting information, but I'm not collecting information. So you know what I'm saying, right? Anyway, the law's definition of operator includes foreign-based websites and online services that are involved in commerce in the United States or its territories. So if I'm selling stuff to the USA, COPPA will affect me. So I got to do it the right way and not target the kids and target their personal data and all the rest, which I'm not, because if I sell something, it goes through what I talked about before. You must be over 18 and all that. So I am selling to Sam Overage, because you need to be 18, which is a Sam Overage thing, to have a credit card or PayPal. Anyway, as a related matter, US-based, okay, so in reverse, US-based sites and services that collect information from foreign children are also subject to COPPA. So it's a two-handed international handshake. If I target kids in the US, I have to be COPPA compliant. If someone from the US targets kids in Canada, they have to be COPPA compliant in reverse. So yes, it is a very important and serious thing. That would include Australia or Spain, Mexico, a little island off Japan, everywhere, anywhere. Everyone has to be COPPA compliant, because COPPA is the Child Online Privacy Protection Act. Online is the world. Welcome to 2019. Anyway, privacy policies and direct notices to parents. 1. My child-directed website doesn't collect any personal information. Do I still need to post a privacy policy online? So this is where I got to do something on .ca. COPPA applies only to those websites and online services that collect, use, or disclose personal information. So from children. So again, I'm not really doing that. However, or I'm not doing that. However, the FTC recommends that all websites, it recommends that all websites and online services, particularly those directed to children, so my toys again, post privacy policies online so visitors can easily learn about the operator's information practices. So I will have to write something up. Anyway, it goes into that, so I'm not going to read that for you guys. But if you do have a website like mine, print this thing off and read it through and then figure out your plan. Okay, so number 6 here. Do I have to disclose in my privacy policy and direct notices to parents the collection of cookies, GUIDs, goods, I don't know, IP addresses, or other passive information collection technologies on or through my site. The amendment rule defines personal information to include identifiers such as customer number held in a cookie, an IP address, a processor or device serial number, or a unique device identifier that can be used to recognize a user over time and across different websites or online services, even where such identifier is not paired with other items of personal information. Therefore, you will need to disclose in your privacy policy, see FAQ C2, and in your direct notice to parents, see FAQ C11, your collection, use, or disclosure of such persistent identifiers, unless 1, you collect no other personal information, and 2, such persistent identifiers are collected on or through your site or service solely for the purpose of providing support for the internal operations of your site or service. For more detailed information about activities, consider support for internal operations, see FAQ I.5 to 8 below. Okay. So basically, cookies and all that jazz depends on how you use those, right? Anyway, print this out. I'm not a lawyer. Read it. Consult a lawyer. A true lawyer. Okay, websites and online services directed to children. COPPA applies to websites or online services that are directed to children. What determines whether or not a website or online service is directed to children? The amendment rule sets out a number of factors for determining whether a website or online service is directed to children. These include subject matter of the site or service, its visual content, the use of animated characters or child-oriented activities and incentives, music or other audio content. Okay, is this starting to sound familiar? Age of models, presence of child celebrities or celebrities who appeal to children, language or other characteristics of the website or online service, or whether advertising, promoting, or appearing on the website or online service is directed to children. Determining if your content is made for kids. Is this not verbatim? Let's compare just for a second here. These include the subject matter on YouTube's side, subject matter of video, it's visual content. Yeah, basically it's the same checkmarked thing. So essentially this is where YouTube pulled that from to put into their policy. So YouTube is now COPPA compliant because they listed that for us, the content creators. So YouTube is helping us, even though YouTube got the big right? All right. And you can thank YouTube that they just didn't leave us hanging and all of a sudden we all got nailed by FDA and we're like, what happened, right? And then FDA went, well, you know, you needed to do this. And we've assumed that YouTube had already done this under that previous child blocky, whatever deal they had going on there, right? Okay. So thankfully, now don't hate YouTube anymore. Thank them that they're helping us to not get hit with essentially the price of, like I figured this out. What else equals $42,500 in Canada? That is the price of like a Chevy truck. Okay, so imagine as being a person with like very limited to no money, like enough to have a house and roof over your head and get food, right? Imagine if that person was forced at gunpoint to walk into that Chevy dealership and buy every single GMC truck on that lot and to be able to pay that within 30 days or less. That's what you're looking at if you go and do the wrong thing on here. So thankfully YouTube saved us from buying car dealerships outright with no money. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so this is the exact same thing as what that was, okay? The rule also states that the commission will consider competent and reliable empirical evidence regarding audience composition as well as evidence regarding the intended audience of the site or service. So that would be your, I believe that would be your analytics, but again, I'm not a lawyer. Definition of website or online service directed to children, paragraph 1C16 CFR, subsection 312.2 for that definition. Okay, as described in FAQ D5 below, the amended rule also considers a website or online service to be directed to children where it has actual knowledge that it is collecting personal information directly from users of another website or online service that is directed to children. So that again was YouTube. Leave a comment below, kids. Pat Underage, leave your comment, right? Wrong. Can't do that to Pat Underage. Okay, section 3. What evidence would I need to demonstrate whether children under age 13 are or are not the primary target audience for my website? Okay, so then this is again where YouTube wrote that thing about note, as a creator, you know your videos and your audience best, okay? This is the full version of that same statement. As the operator, you should carefully analyze who your intended audience is, the actual audience, and in many instances, the likely audience for your site or service. In making these determinations, you should keep in mind the factors for a website or online service directed to children contained in paragraph 1 of 16 CFR subsection 312.2. You may also get a better sense of your site or service once it has been in operation and may need to make some changes accordingly. So we all need to make our changes accordingly. Here, I'm gonna stand up. I can only sit so long. Okay. More words, more room for text. Okay, number 4. I run a site that I believe may fall within the FTC subcategory of a website directed to children, but where it is acceptable to age screen users. Can I age screen and completely block users who identify as being under the age of 13 from participating in any aspects, pardon me, of my site? This is what happens if I hang around too long. Okay, so basically, here, let's just move this up a bit. So basically, what they're saying here is I run a website that I believe Pat Underage may get into, right? Can I block Pat Underage from messing me up? The answer is no. If your site falls within the definition of a website or online service directed to children, as set forth in paragraph 1 of 16 CFR, subsection 312.2, then you may not block children from participating altogether, even if you do not intend children to be your primary target audience. So, again, we're making like Elsa meets Spider-Man, right? Let's say. And you don't, let's say you do have some conscience going on here, right? And you don't want Pat Underage to watch Elsa meets Spider-Man. You intended it like a South Park deal for Sam Overage to watch and, kind of laugh at, because it sort of hits Sam Overage's nostalgic thing about this cartoon and whatever, right? Like Mad TV kind of thing. Okay? You want to say, okay, look, I don't want Pat Underage on here, so I'm going to set in this thing that says, Pat Underage, you are blocked from watching this video. You can't do that. So, like it or not, if those, pseudo-cartoonic pornographic websites want to run this, there is no stopping them. They can do it. And they are not under obligation to block your little Pat Underage from watching their stuff. So that's where we have to get FDA to go after, is those kind of unscrupulous Sammy Overages that are putting this jazz on there. May not block children. Instead, what the amended rule now permits you to do is to use an age screen in order to differentiate between your child and non-child users. You may decide to offer different activities or functions to your users depending upon age, but you may not altogether prohibit children from participating in a child-directed site or service. So, the Spider-Man meets Elsa video people, if they have this conscience and they want to stop Pat Underage from doing that, they cannot block him, but they can go, hey, Pat Underage, you know, I really strongly recommend that you watch this other video we have called, you know, Elsa is very, very good and does very, very good things and never meets Spider-Man, right? You know, but they can't say, but no, you can't watch the original one. But they can offer, you know, here's our not dirty one, but that's it, you know. And unless they state that in the beginning of that video, how would Pat Underage even know to go somewhere else, right? They wouldn't. And even then, it wouldn't stop Pat Underage from watching that. All right. I'm on page 15, so. I want to run ads on my child-directed websites and apps. What do I need to know to make sure that I'm complying with COPPA? Websites and apps. Okay. There are a number of questions you must find answers to before you enter into an arrangement with any entity to serve advertising to run on your child-directed sites and services. These include: is there a way to control the type of advertising that appears on the sites and services? Okay, and what categories of information will be collected from users on the sites and services in connection with the ads they are served? Will persistent identifiers be collected for purposes other than support for internal operations? Will geolocation information be collected in connection with the ads served? Okay, you should make informed decisions before you permit advertising to run on your sites and services. Depending on what advertising choices you make, you may be required to notify parents in your online privacy policies and in direct notice and obtain verifiable parental consent before you permit advertising to occur. I mean, this is a lot of researching stuff. Remember that the amended rule holds you liable for collection of information that occurs on or through your site or services, even if you yourself do not engage in such collection. So even you could be liable for third parties. I don't know if even third parties you don't know are doing this. Maybe, but I don't know if there's a loophole there. I'm not a lawyer. Yeah, basically you could be liable, right? Okay. I don't know if you want me to continue with this stuff. Because I don't do it from mine, but maybe I'll help you with yours here. I operate a child-directed app that allows kids to make paintings. I don't collect the paintings, they rest on the device, but the app includes buttons for popular email and social media providers. Okay, so this is kind of what that YouTube subscribe button and end screens and all that jazz is doing. It's doing a similar thing, right? I operate a child-directed app that allows kids to make paintings. So end screens and all that stuff are apps, right? I don't collect the paintings, so YouTube doesn't collect it doesn't do anything with the end screens and the subscribe and the watermarks and all that jazz, right? They rest on the device, YouTube, but the app includes buttons for popular email and social media providers that kids can click on within the app. The buttons open the email program or social network populated with the painting or their comments or whatever, and allow the child to share it along with a message. I don't collect or share any other personal information through the app. Do I have to seek verifiable parental consent? And this is where what happens is when Pat Underage makes up the phony, illegitimate thing, help me, I forgot. Website, subscription, whatever, right? On YouTube. Then again, they're sharing all that information. They did not ask parental consent. They went around it, right? Or the parent just said, oh yeah, whatever, right? Because the parent wasn't really hip on what does my parental consent thing mean, right? What's going on? Is my kid getting their data out there? Like the unconscientious parent just made Pat underage perfectly acceptable to do this, right? So anyway, yes, the COPPA rule defines collection to include requesting, promoting, or encouraging a child to submit personal information online and enabling a child to make personal information publicly available in identifiable form. Okay, so anyway, it does say, yes, you gotta get parental consent, and that's where YouTube might have failed, because there's no way if YouTube can ask a parent's consent if a kid wants to start an account. Well, the account was the word, because YouTube said no kid under 13 can make an account. But little Pat Underage, who's the computer genius of the modern age, because they're basically learning the computer before they learn nursery rhymes now, is able to go, haha, I am my parent, and make an account. So there was no written consent from parents. So again, parents have to monetize or monitor their kids, right? Anyway, photos, videos, and audio recordings. Here we go again. I run a moderated website that is directed to children, and I pre-screen all children's submissions in order to delete personal information before postings go live. Do I have to get parental consent if I allow children to post photos of themselves but no other personal information? So yes, you do. I'll let you guys read this, because this video is going to be like 4 hours long. I want to offer a child-directed app. The app would allow children to upload pictures of their favorite pets or places. I do not ask children to provide their email addresses or their names, or really any personal information for that matter. How does COPPA apply to me? Again, it does. Okay, COPPA applies to photos, videos, and audio files that contain children's images or voices. It also applies to geolocation data contained in these files sufficient to identify street names and name of city or town. Oh, my batteries are going to die. Therefore, in order to offer an app without parental notice and consent, the operator must take the following steps. Pre-screen the child's photos in order to delete any that depict images of the child, or delete the applicable portion of the photo if possible. The operator must also remove any other personal information, for example, geolocation metadata, and all the rest of that jazz. Do I have to get parental consent if I blur my images? Basically, no. But read all this stuff for yourself. I think I'm going to run out of batteries. Yeah. And make sure you get all this COPPA stuff before you click that Made for Kids or Not. And did I have one more recommendation here? Oh, yes. Okay, if you have a Patreon account, right, and you want people to support you, because this is how it's going to go if you want to be monetized, and you want people to comment on your videos and all that stuff, right? Okay, go on Patreon and make it so that absolutely no one can be on Patreon or even see your Patreon unless you charge $1, because you need to use PayPal in order to subscribe onto Patreon. Now, this is where I printed this thing off here. According to PayPal's rules, a person must be at least 18 to open an account, and is illegal to enter into a contract unless you are an emancipated minor. That means parental consent. PayPal does not offer student accounts to children and teenagers, but to get one, an adult would have to sign for it and act as the primary account